Welcome to the best debate in the universe. Every debate in the universe, from fired engineers to IPA beers. With over 2.5 million downloads, I'm your host, Maddox. With me is the Sergeant of Swag, Mikey Bolts, the audio engineer.
Hey.
Welcome back to the show. And as always, my top unit, key grip, deputy cadet moderator, Rucka Ali.
That's right.
Good to be back. Guys, we've got an amazing show today. We're going to do something a little bit different. Normally, we debate two sides of an issue, but this week we're going to debate what is the worst cult. We've got a lot of cults and a lot of bad ones. We're going to find out which one the worst is, and you're going to vote on it. Then we've got a recap, voicemail, this week's debate, and finally headlines from around the web. But first, I'd like to introduce our guests this week. Please welcome to the show. We have two guests, Nick Mardi and Sarah Lea.
What's up, everyone?
What's up?
Welcome to the show. There it is. So, Nick, you are a professional athlete and a vegan bodybuilder. And Sarah, actress and model.
Yep.
I think it's very obvious for anyone watching at home on YouTube. This is just a handsome couple, just a beautiful couple.
Thank you so much.
Amazing, yeah.
Thank you.
There it is.
We're trying.
Yeah.
We're trying to
conceive, I hope.
No, I'm trying doing a soundboard effect.
Were you trying to do this one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, welcome to the show. First of all, you guys are a couple.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And how long have you been dating?
About 6 months.
Okay, and so both of you, I think this is kind of interesting. Both of you are vegan, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Okay, how is that possible? Because I always, most of my vegan friends are really just like frail, and they don't eat enough, I think.
Yeah.
So
Really?
what keeps? Because you have like muscle mass and you are fit. How do you do
Well,
you
you have to like replace, like if you're going to eat meat, you can't just take the meat away because obviously then you're going to be missing out on a bunch of nutrients and stuff.
What do you
And
replace with meat?
protein.
Because I would rather eat nothing than meat than not meat. Like if there's no meat in it, no thanks.
I used to
I
be
mean-
the same way.
Yeah.
Completely. Especially when I was training, I would have several steaks a day. And then all of a sudden I just did more research, and I just completely flipped in one day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And
It was
I-
research. It wasn't having an incredibly smart, hot girlfriend. That's
That had a
vegan?
lot to do
no,
with it.
I
No,
mean,
shit.
I've been vegan for a long time, and we started dating, and I didn't want to like push it on him. Of course, I was hoping one day down the line, but I said like, if you want me to cook you a steak, I will. Like,
She had.
And
Yeah.
I think what they mean to say is the reason you're, a lot of frail, sickly vegans is because they're weak hippies before they're even vegan. They're just generally unhealthy, mentally
Yes.
unhealthy,
Yes.
Yeah.
miserable hippies. So not all vegans. Hashtag.
yeah.
Yeah,
all
hashtag not all vegans.
You can be a healthy, athletic, proud person with a rich, a body,
Yeah.
cells, hair, and skin.
Well,
Hair
and
isn't
still-
an
and
indicator
still
of
eat
health
vegan-
necessarily.
veganly.
No,
What?
that's not true.
Well, that's what we like trying to do, because every time someone thinks of a vegan, they think of these dirty hippies that
Yeah.
like just live with the soil.
Yep.
But that's not it, It's really not it. Like you would not even know that we were vegan. He's got way more strength in the gym, way more energy. I mean, I've always had
Yeah, I was
better energy, skin,
225
hormones,
pounds,
like,
and then now I'm about 205.
but like
and-
shredded.
But do you guys wear shoes?
Of course.
I'm wearing
Okay.
flip-flops. We're both
All
wearing
right.
sandals as we speak. I know.
Not really selling me on the
I know.
non-hippie
It
thing.
starts. It starts.
Do you guys live in a place with a roof? Like there's actual walls.
Yeah,
it's not a
yeah,
hut.
yeah,
okay,
it's no
All right,
teepee, it's no teepee.
Okay, they're
Yep,
not
yep, yep.
hippies, guys. Confirmed.
And we use soap.
You use okay.
Yeah.
There it is.
Is it
That's the
real
ultimate.
soap or is
Yeah.
it some of that new age
The funny thing is,
bullshit?
because I do know people who use crystals to wash their hands and stuff like
What
that.
for real?
Yeah, for
Oh,
real.
yeah. And like deodorant.
But it's past veganism. That I don't know what level those people are on.
Yeah.
They're not
Punk.
third wave.
That's like
Yeah,
some
third
new
wave
stuff.
veganism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's gonna hit, in about a year. That's gonna be a trend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like kale.
Yeah. And Sarah, you're an actress model, and is that what brought you to Los Angeles? You're originally from South Africa, is that correct?
Yeah, South Africa, came to the States to study acting at New York Film Academy, and now just working as a model and actress.
Cool. Me
Yeah.
too. So we should move on to the debate we had from last week, guys. First of all, I want to get your guys' opinion on the debate we had as well. But last week, a Google engineer wrote a very controversial memo about the biological difference between the sexes and why he thought Google's decision to try to make up the difference in hiring artificially by hiring more women engineers was bad. And he wrote this memo essentially as a 10-page memo. It went viral within the company, then it went viral on the internet, and then Google fired him. So the debate last week was Google right to fire this engineer? What do you guys think?
I know some facts about it.
Right.
And I don't have all my ammunition right now to have a perfect opinion. That's how I've always been. She knows that I like to go into a fight with my facts.
Sure. So, a lot of people had a lot of strong opinions on it. I put this debate to the test, to the audience vote. And with a 70% vote, the audience said no. Google was wrong to fire this guy. So sometimes what I like to do on the show is I like to get people's opinions before and after they listen to the debate. So I asked them the second question, the follow-up question, to see if they changed their minds. What do you believe after listening to the debate? And with 76%, they voted no. They got even stronger, more staunchly opposed to Google's decision to fire him.
Wouldn't it be free speech regardless?
Well, of course it's free speech, and he still has that free speech. Just because Google fired him doesn't mean he can't tell his opinion to people. He can go off and do that, but Google isn't obligated to hire him. Google isn't obligated to employ him.
Oh, wow. Fucking Mr. Private Property.
Rucka, every time,
Hey.
you can't just agree. You can't just be like, wow, I agree with Maddox. Maddox has
I'd
a good
like
point.
to agree with you more.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
You should. Here's the thing. If you agreed with me more, you'd be right more often.
Then let me agree with you more. Be somewhat consistent.
I am 100% consistent. I've never not been consistent.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, before we move on, I do have one other thing. This is, I think, the third week in a row, but we have another fan package, guys. So last week we had a gift package sent to us from this guy named Jim, super fan, big time listener of the show, and Rucka kind of made fun of his gifts. He sent us another one. He said, Rucka said last week he sent us a bunch of peanuts and M&Ms and craisins and things essentially you could just get at a Costco.
I saw that.
So Rucka said, what's next? Some paper plates? And Jim sent us some paper plates.
Nice.
Thank you, Jim. And he also sent us a children's toy. It's a maze, I think. One of these mazes where you rotate. It's like a 3D maze where you try to get the ball into what.
It'll keep you busy.
Yeah, keep you busy. And he sent us a giant box of snacks.
Ooh,
this
crackers.
is a variety pack of cookies and crackers.
They're all crackers.
They're all.
That screams Costco.
Yeah, we've got the
Cookies
peanut
and
butter.
crackers.
They're Austin snacks. They're Austin crackers. We got peanut butter, chocolate, vanilla, lemon O's, and then cheese.
I don't really see a vegan option, so
I
we're
don't-
going to send this back.
I
We're
was
going to
like,
keep
do
the
I bring
plates.
that subject back? I was thinking, do we bring
during these rough times we're living in, I don't think the answer is more crackers. So we're going to send this back. Please send us a vegan option next time.
And one gift specifically for you, Rucka. It is Active Fit panties. They're absorbent. You sent you some underwear to wear.
I feel perverted just holding this. What is it?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
They're Active Fit panties. Now he says, Dear Maddox, I sent some snacks, paper plates, a kid's toy, and ladies depends for Rucka. Least I could do. I've been reading and listening and watching your content for at least 15 of the last 20 years, and you've just about never put anything behind a paywall. Thank you very much. You fucking rock. Well, thank you, Jim. That's a very, very thoughtful.
That was a very good gift.
Yeah, very thoughtful, very good gift. Yeah.
Does this like catch pee when it like slips out of you? Do you know what this is?
Let me look at it.
Let me
I'm
look at it.
interested.
Seeing I'm the only female on this table.
Yeah, there is one. We do have an
so
expert.
much that goes into being female. Like, why
yeah.
did nature give them the most like difficult?
Yeah.
It's handy.
But Jim does.
It looks handy.
I don't know. I don't know.
I like that the package says for moderate absorption. This isn't even for maximum absorption.
This isn't for a flow.
No, it's not if you want to take a big
I don't
shit
think
in
you
your
need
pants.
it.
I mean,
Well,
I may not need it, but I may want.
You know what? We'll post a picture of Rucka wearing those on the website. But we should move on to the voicemail.
I would pay for a picture like that.
Oh, absolutely. That's going to be the
you
first
will.
thing we put behind a strict paywall. Rucka's panty shots. But I got some voicemail, guys. Here's the first one. This guy called in because he had a question about Armenians. As you guys may or may not know, I am Armenian. Here it is.
I have a question for today's Armenian Minute. How come whenever I go into a fucking convenience store or liquor store owned by an Armenian, they're always on the fucking phone? What are they talking about? Who are they talking to? Should I be concerned?
Yes.
Yeah, that's all I want to know. Fucking Nazi.
Yeah, how's that nice stereotype, shithead?
Yeah.
Or Armenians are always on the phone. Sorry, we're getting shit done. All right? It's called work, idiot. Look into it. Which, ironically, it sounded like he was in an Armenian convenience store.
It did. It was busy.
And he was on the phone.
True.
So now who's got the stereotype, huh? Yeah, that's right. You, dildo. All right, and here's another caller.
How does he know? How does he know they're on their phone if they all have Bluetooths and they're always talking anyway?
That's true. Good point, Rucka. That is another stereotype. Here's another caller. This guy's a critic of the show, I think. Listen to this guy.
So I just listened to your podcast about the Google dude who wrote the memo, and it's obvious that none of y'all read the memo before you started the podcast, because the dude talked about in there better ways for women to be more involved in the industry, and gave biological reasons to say hey, there's coding. If we make coding more group oriented, then more women might want to do it, because women. Fuck, I'm high.
He's a critic.
Idiot. Yeah. What a moron.
Girls are social.
Yeah.
They go to the bathroom together and stuff, right?
Look, all joking aside, there are a lot of studies that show girls prefer more social jobs than guys in general. They, there have been studies that show when there are times that are tough, when there's any kind of social upheaval or natural disaster or anything like that, guys like to be left alone. They like to be alone. And women generally like to be more social. They like to be around other people. There's tons of studies like this. I think what the point of the memo was he was trying to point out some of those biological differences to explain that it's not just sexism that informs the hiring decision that goes into hiring men versus women. It's not like people are just going out of their way to hire men over women. And there is also studies in the opposite direction, too. There's studies that found that when women's identity is concealed, when they submit their source code to GitHub is a place where you can submit your programs and projects and that sort of thing. When it's concealed, women are more likely to be accepted as opposed to when they are identifiable as female. So there's studies on both sides. I don't know if there's a clear consensus, but there's an argument to be made, and it's important debate. I don't know if doing it at work was the smartest decision.
Especially at Google.
The
biggest search engine.
Right. And people are saying, oh, there's this big fallout. Oh, these people are boycotting. No one's boycotting Google, idiot. You can't. Google's everywhere. Yeah. Anyway, here's another caller from my aunt. She's been calling in. She gives me lots of sex advice. Here's my aunt.
Hello, Maddox. This is your great aunt. I just wanted to call you and wish you a happy birthday, Puddin'. Hopefully the women are treating you right. All right, Puddin', have a great day. Congratulations on your third book, too, sweetie.
Yeah.
Fuck whales. I've been saying that since 1934.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
Yeah.
They're just big, large obstructionists floating through the sea, coming in our water supply.
Yeah.
All right, Puddin', I love you, sweetie. Have a good one.
Water supply.
Yeah, what a great call from my aunt.
That's great.
Yeah, I love you too, Auntie. Thank you for calling in. And she's got a good point. All whales do is come in our water.
Water supply.
Yeah, that's all it is. You ever got any ocean water in your mouth? It's 100% whale cum. That's what it is. That's why it's so salty.
Speaking of smart, beautiful women, I finally met your hippie neighbor today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Great. What did she do? Did she yell at you?
She was very nice.
Get out of here. She's never nice.
Very nice. She came over. I was sitting parked in front of her house, I guess, with the engine on, because I was listening to something and had the AC blowing.
Right.
And she walks over, and I'm like, okay, I roll down the window.
That's what she does.
And she said something like, the engine, I don't like having the engine on. Can you turn it off?
Yeah.
And I said, oh, okay, yeah, am I blocking? She's like, oh, no, I just, if why do people leave their engine on? Oh, it's probably for the AC on. And she kept saying, oh, you're a good boy. You're a good boy. I'm like, oh, thanks. It was nice. She was telling me I look young, which is a compliment.
And
she told me I'm one of the good ones.
Yeah.
So I said sure. I turned off my engine and there was a nice interaction.
That's what she does. This is what she does. She manipulates.
Yeah.
Okay. She manipulates. First of all, everyone looks young compared to her.
Good point.
She is pushing 130 years old. This woman is, and she's spry. I'm waiting till she dies. I've announced on the show multiple times that when she dies, we're going to have a fan meetup and a big party to celebrate.
I
Absolutely,
guess
she's awful.
hippies and vegans do live longer.
Yeah, you know what? Unfortunately, she is a manipulator. She's full of shit, and that's her calling card. She comes out. It's a power play.
Yeah,
right.
It is.
It's a total power play.
Yeah.
Anytime you idle in front of her house for any amount of time, she'll come outside and make some bullshit excuse on why you need to turn off your car engine. She'll say, "Oh, I'm sleeping inside, and the smell of the exhaust." It's like you can't even fucking. It's an electric car, bitch. You don't know. There's no
Really?
exhaust.
She's done that exact thing before? Told people to turn off their engine?
At least a dozen times.
That's crazy.
Guests come over. Anyone who comes over, they come outside, and she comes outside and she yells at them to turn off their car.
Well, she didn't yell.
Wow,
It was a power play, though.
She's trying to put a wedge between us.
Where is she going to take it from here?
Yeah, I'll tell you. You know what? The next move is be like, hey, that Maddox guy you hang out with, the guy, he's not too good. He's not a good one. Okay. And then she'll just start planting seeds of discord. That's what she does.
And then what?
I don't know, man. I don't know her whole fucking plan because I disrupt it. I stand in defiance of her. I do.
Right.
Absolutely. You watch her.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
We got another caller who called in talking about, Rucka talked about microbes. We had a debate about kids that turned out to be a debate about microbes a while back. And he's got a new character. It's Rucka the Microbe. Listen to this.
Oh, no.
Yo, this is Rucka Micro coming to a petri dish near you, motherfucker.
Yeah. So he called in and left a bunch of these. I only brought in a couple. Here's another one.
Yo, this is Rucka Micro. I'm just here to say I have a very small opinion of myself. Yo.
Very specific joke.
Where do you find these people?
I don't know.
That is really random. I was
Yeah.
thinking in my head, I was like, where is this cat
Small
from?
opinion.
Not only is it a microbe joke, but it's also a play on a microbe joke itself. It's very specific jokes. We got a call from our old buddy Mike Gams, old guest of the show. Listen to this guy.
Hey, Maddox. It's me, Mike Gams. I always like when you have our old friend Austin Blank on the show, because it reminds your listeners that I'm not the dumbest burnout you've ever had on the show. Anyways, punch a Nazi, and Rucka, take a Xanax. Bye.
Yeah, take a Xanax, Rucka. I don't even know what Xanax does.
I think it mellows you out.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I went out, I was snowboarding one time, and I bashed up my face really bad. And I got down to the bottom of the hill, and my friends are like, hey, man, we should probably go home. And I'm like, no, I'm good. Let's get some beers. And they're like, you should go to the bathroom first. So I walk into the bathroom and I look in the mirror and my face is just smeared with blood. It's just a mess. It looks like my face is mangled. So I wash it up and it's not too bad. I just have like some scars and cuts and things everywhere. And I went back upstairs and they're like, hey man, you want to leave? I'm like, no, of course not. Chicks dig scars. They love it. And I swear to God, I was walking over to the bar to get a beer. And two girls stopped me. They're like, oh, my God, poor baby. What happened to you? And I sat down. I was like, well, actually, I just smashed my face up because I don't know how to snowboard that well.
And you look back at your friends like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, oh, my God, it's totally true. And the reason I mentioned that is because one of the girls was wearing a Xanax hoodie. And that's the first time I saw like Xanax in the wild, like that it was a thing that people not only take but wear merchandise for. So she was super into Xanax. I went out on a date. I went out on a date with her. Long story short, she was a total idiot. But anyway, that's my Xanax date story.
Repping the merch.
Yeah. Then we got a call about last week's Charlottesville protest. Now, when we were recording, it was just happening, and I did bring in some news stories last week to talk about it, but I decided not to play it because it was still too fresh and still too dark, and the story was unfolding. Here's a caller about that. Listen to this.
Hey, first-time caller, love the show. Pretty surprised that the debate wasn't on Charlottesville. Maybe it was pre-recorded during the weekend. I'm not sure. With the whole punch and Nazi thing. But I really want to see Rucka's view because, he's the only person that probably doesn't have a rational view on the situation. Everybody else is kind of actually smart there, or pretty close to a college degree. But with that gathering, they all deserve to be punched, right, Rucka? Nazi flags waving. If you're in the group, you know what's going on. If you don't like it, get out of it. So let me hear your argument. Let me hear those scarecrow arguments and that ad hominem, yeah? You're pretty good at it. See ya.
Yeah, Rucka. Let's hear what you have to say, Rucka. Yeah.
This impression master.
You've got to do it, man. Let's hear it, Rucka.
Yeah. I don't like the people marching in Charlottesville.
You don't think any of them are fine?
No. No. What Trump was saying was that some of them are just they're for preserving Confederate, public
heritage, not hate.
Heritage,
Yeah.
which is what I think he meant to say, but I would say anyone who marches alongside swastika people, if you see swastika and Klans outfits at an event and you're marching alongside them, you're not immediately distancing yourself, then you're basically part of it. And I once saw a video of a gay parade, however many, it might have been 20 years ago or whenever, and NAMBLA showed up, the National Man Boy Love Association.
Yeah.
Oh, I've heard of that, yeah.
Right.
And immediately all the gays, not all, but whoever was kind of in this video, they were like, "Oh, get away! We want nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
We are not we are for consenting adult gay men to have their fun, not little boys."
Right.
That's how you got to behave.
That's how you handle it. Actually, very sensible and reasonable opinion from Rucka.
good.
Oh yeah, the only point I've ever this is great. Everyone thinks I'm like, all I've ever said is that you're a hypocrite.
I'm not,
because you're perfectly fine with Nazi behavior as long as it's Antifa doing it.
Since when have I ever said
you have
anything
no
to
problem
that
with them
shit?
whatsoever.
No, that's fucking bullshit. That's absolutely
They behave.
false.
By the way, the people marching in Charlottesville are okay. Putting aside the guy with the car, the guy who drove over
The guy who murdered someone. Yes. Putting aside that guy.
Yes.
The
other Nazis. I'm calling them Nazis. Ooh, are you excited? The other Nazis were behaving like fucking Victorian gentlemen and ladies compared to Antifa the last few months.
Sure, absolutely.
So I'm saying these guys are all fucking violent. They're all Nazis.
There we go.
You're totally cool with Nazis as long as they don't have the swastika.
There's the undo button that Rucka just hit.
Undo.
on his sensible opinion. And here's one last voicemail. So that guy mentioned that I don't have a degree. He was shitting on me. Here's another one.
Hey, Maddox. I'm just here to tell you to get your fucking degree. I'm about to turn 20 in October. I'm younger than your fucking site. And I'm going to get my degree before you and be more of an academic than you are at 20? Fuck you, you fucking pussy. You're such a little bitch ass, you're not going to get it. You just sit there and bitch about being the foremost academic and complain when everyone else is smarter than you. Go suck a dick. Yeah, everyone else is pretty cool. Maddox, quit complaining, you're stupid. Yeah. Have a good time. Befriend a Nazi.
Yeah, what a dipshit.
What are these people coming from? I've never heard so many things in a row that I'm like, what?
Charlottesville. All the callers from Charlottesville. That's what happened. Yeah.
Well, but befriend a Nazi is a meme on this
play
show.
off of,
It's like he's punch a Nazi, turn into fuck a Nazi, turn into now befriend a Nazi.
We will not be doing any of those things except for maybe the first. But we should move on. That's the end of the voicemail. I'll play some more after the show ends, at the tail end of the show. If you're a first-time listener, that's what we do. So hang on till the very end. And we should talk about this week's debate. Joining me again is my top unit key grip deputy cadet moderator, Rucka Ali. Let's hear his buzzer. There it is. And Nick Mardi, let's hear yours. And Sarah, you have a ding as a buzzer. And Sarah, what is your buzzer?
Oh,
trigger.
There it is.
I see.
Okay.
I see the soundboard now.
No, sorry, you gotta use the ding
when
now.
When you disagree, you hit that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You hear any dings? That means that Nick Mardi has disagreed with someone.
I play the opposites game.
It's opposites day today. So, guys, today we're going to talk about the worst cults. There are a lot of shitty cults in the world. But this week's episode, we're going to decide which is the worst, and you're going to vote on it at madcastmedia.com. Make sure to go to the website and vote on which you think of all the cults that we're going to talk about today, which is the worst. Nick and Sarah, as our guests this week, I'm going to give you guys first pick. Who do you think is the worst cult?
We're teaming up on this one with
Heaven's Gate.
Oh, the Heaven's Gate cult.
Yep.
All right, that's a classic. That's a really good pick right out the gates. Why the Heaven's Gate cult? What did they do wrong?
Well, I think they carried on the cult for a little too long, and I'm surprised people even hung in there with them.
How so? What do you mean? I mean, it's done, right? It's disbanded, isn't it?
Well, I'm saying, actually, there's still people running the website.
Members, yeah.
Well, let's describe first for people who don't know, because the Heaven's Gate cult was a thing in the late 90s or early 2000s, right?
70s to 90s, late 90s.
Late 90s. So for people who don't know, because it's been a while, it's been, 15, 16 years since it happened.
97.
97. That's when I started my website. Holy shit. When in 1997 did it happen?
I'll ding it too, but it means it's right.
Yeah. Okay. 97, August 12th, 1997 is when I started my website. So it's 20 years old. So I guess the Heaven's Gate cult also turned 20. Wow. Amazing.
Coincidence.
So what is the Heaven's Gate cult for those who don't know? Because it's been 20 years.
Oh my God. Well, let me try and describe it if I can.
Yeah.
Basically, they believed that they had higher minds than anyone else, and they were pretty much, he was the reincarnation of Jesus, and that they were going to be taken up to the next level, another planet, and by a UFO.
He believed that the same alien that was inside Jesus was inside him.
Yeah.
Oh, that alien. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and then there was the comet that came by, right? The
Yes.
comet, Hale-Bopp. Yeah, Hale-Bopp.
Hale-Bopp.
Hale-Bopp. Yeah, one of the two. Starts with an H and ends with a
Yeah.
Bob. That comet came by. Now, I remember this actually happened when I was in an astronomy class at the University of Utah. You know, and again, I will mention I'm the foremost academic authority on the show. So I was in college learning about astronomy, and my teacher was very affected by it because he and this is the only time I've ever seen him break character as a professor, or break, I guess, occupation as a professor. And he got a little teary when he addressed the Heaven's Gate cult in class. He said, "Guys, a lot of you may have noticed this comet is coming to Earth or passing by Earth." And in the news right now is this story about the Heaven's Gate cult. And everybody killed themselves because they believed that there was an invisible spaceship in the dust, the tail of the comet, that they were trying to latch onto by killing themselves. He said, please don't do that. He said, there's no evidence of this. You can see with a telescope. There's absolutely nothing behind the dust of the comet except for particles, like dust particles and ice. He said, there's no spaceship. Don't kill yourselves. Don't follow this cult. And it was like a thing. People were really looking into it at the time.
Crazy.
Yeah, he got really affected by it. But that's what happened.
Yeah.
And again, they found no evidence of a spaceship in the dust of the
But we
comet.
saw the bodies in the house.
A lot about how many people were killed in this
30? 30 people were
Yes.
30 people were dead.
30.
And they're all wearing matching clothes and tennis shoes.
Four
Nikes.
survivors, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were wearing Nikes. The Nike, what was it? The Nike Advent or something? Some Nike. There was like some Nike space themed shoe. I think they all bought. They were all wearing the same Nikes, and they were draped in purple cloth.
Yeah. I saw a video of it actually.
Yeah. There's a lot of video of it. If you search YouTube right now, there's a lot of video of the Heaven's Gate cult. Now, here's what I want to say. For those of you who are coming to Los Angeles, there's an excellent museum called the Museum of Death. If you're into that kind of stuff at all, into anything macabre, into serial killer memorabilia, that sort of thing, the guy who runs that museum is kind of like obsessed with the Heaven's Gate cult, and he has bought almost every piece of memorabilia that exists out there and recreated a model of one of the bunk beds in this museum.
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah, it's pretty freaky. It's really interesting to see. If you're into that thing at all and you come to Los Angeles, make sure to check out the Museum of Death. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, because I watched this whole interview already with the first responding cop to the house, and it was the sketchiest thing I've ever seen, because he was talking about how he already felt weird walking up to the house, then opening the doors, and then you just see video camera of all the bodies draped in the cloth.
Yeah.
Really freaky.
Now, who's the leader of the cult? What do you have his name?
It was Apple Whiteside, and then now all of a sudden, of course, I lost the lady's name.
But that guy, here's something kind of interesting about that guy, too.
Bonnie Nettles. Sorry.
Bonnie Nettles. And Applewhite is the other guy?
Marshall Applewhite and Bonnie Nettles.
Now, sometimes there's pictures of girls people post online. They're like, oh, she has crazy eyes. This guy has the same exact, like, crazy eyes. Mm-hmm. You see this guy.
Crazy.
He looks bonkers insane. And this is kind of interesting about this guy. But he's we'll post a picture on the website. It's crazy. But this guy castrated himself.
Yeah.
Because he was so committed to the Heaven's Gate cult, right?
Well, I read that many of the members voluntarily castrated themselves to like stop sexual urges.
Right.
While they were like living together before they became like crew members or something.
Right.
I mean, if that doesn't make you the worst cult ever, I don't know what does.
Yeah. Some cults, you join and you drink some Kool-Aid or Flavor Aid that's poison. Some of them, you lose your penis.
This one was a penis one.
The penis one, yeah.
I want to know what they did with those parts that they cut off.
Good
Where
question.
did they put them? Where did they put them?
Oh, the penises? At least, if you're going to cut off your dick, you would want to mount it.
Like plaque, maybe.
I would imagine them to do that.
Yeah.
I feel like they did some spiritual ritual stuff with those
some
penises
weird
all
shit.
put in a bucket together.
I mean, at least a prank do something with it, right? Like your friends come over and you give them a nice cold glass of lemonade. You're like, hey, guess what I mixed it with?
The spoon, right?
Yeah. No.
Stop putting your cock in my drink.
Yeah. And then like leave it places. I would leave it on people's pillows.
Gotcha. It's like such a brotherly prank.
Yeah. Leave it in a cigar box.
I feel like Applewhite would have had like a really special place for all of them.
All the penises?
Yeah, like he's crazy.
I don't know. Pretty bad cult. Are there any other weird facts or anything about
this?
I
know they took them across the country when they were trying to go underground, and they all lived in tents, and they were begging. In my opinion, I was like, all right, if you're telling me you're a higher mind, why are we begging on the street?
Well, a lot of people who claim to be supreme to other people do some really dumb shit. But anyway,
What are you looking at me for? When did I turn into the fucking supremacist fucking spokesman?
All right. Well, anyway, guys, that's a good summary of the Heaven's Gate cult. Pretty good contender, I think, for worst cult.
One more thing.
Yeah.
The time when they were gonna all have a group suicide.
Yeah.
Before they passed on.
One of the worst things to do as a group. Yes.
Yeah. They put the medication that you use to treat epilepsy in pudding. That's how they decided to go. They took the medication.
Epilepsy medication?
Yeah. How can you take yourself seriously if you're going to kill yourself with pudding?
Yeah. Oh, man. What's with like kid snacks
weird.
and cults?
Yeah.
It's always like pudding, Jello, punch.
Yeah.
What is it?
Lunchables, same thing.
Did they use Lunchables? Is there a cult
I
that
think
use
there's
Lunchables?
a few, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
There wasn't.
All right. Well, you know what? It's just a matter of time. We got these Austin snacks. We got these crackers that we can use. And there's a group here.
There is a group.
We'll see how this show goes.
We need matching sandals, vegan sandals.
Yeah.
And then we're good to go.
Yeah, we'll see about that. Good contender, guys. Thank you. Rucka, do you have a cult for us? Who's the worst cult?
The AltRight.
The AltRight?
Yeah.
All right, good.
Now, initially, I said, okay, there's the cult. And then I thought, well, are they technically a cult, or are they more of a, I looked up the word cult. A system of religious veneration and devotion directed towards a particular figure or object. So I thought, well, the AltRight, they're a political movement or something, philosophical, something. I don't know if you'd call them a cult per se, by the definition of a cult. So I texted you and said, yeah, I don't know if they're technically a cult, so I'll probably pick something else. And you texted me back and said, oh no, hey, you better pick the AltRight.
Didn't say you better.
Aggressive.
No,
you said AltRight is fine with a period. You never text with a period. You were being aggressive and mean. So I said, all right, if that's how bad Maddox wants to defend the AltRight and debate against it, then that's what we're gonna do. So okay, assuming. So I guess if the point of a cult is that they're directed towards a figure or towards a particular figure or object, let's just say their object is the white race. Right. The white race, or the European nationalist, whatever. Let's just say the white race. I guess
you're saying the alt-right is directed in favor of the white race.
Yeah, like that's their object that they worship. The white collective.
They are white identitarian. They're into white identitarian politics.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so here's the thing. When I think of a cult, there's some aspect to a cult that is small. You think it's kind of a smaller group.
Yeah.
For the longest time, the Mormons in Utah, the LDS, was considered a cult. But now I think they're numbering in 11 million or something worldwide. It's outside the realm of a cult, I think. A lot of groups that become too large. I almost brought in like Star Wars fans as cults, but that's, again, it's too big. There's too many of them. So what's the size of the alt-right? Do you know?
I don't know if anyone really knows because it's so hard. It's so muddy. It's like I don't know, like the alt-right itself, they would like to count as members pretty much anyone that posts, offensive memes on the internet, and communists like you want to do the same. You want to say anyone that ever posted a picture of Pepe the Frog is alt-right. I think the actual people who actually agree with the alt-right and are part of it is very small, but it's growing. And it's making it, they're emboldened now to leave the house. They're emboldened now to promote their ideas more publicly, whereas they weren't before.
Right.
They're emboldened.
I wonder
Trump,
who emboldened.
absolutely.
Yeah, Trump emboldened. Are you saying that sarcastically?
No, I think, there's certainly a lot of truth to that. I love the fact that I've become, in your mind, like the pro-Trump guy when I never wanted him to have any power whatsoever. The only thing I had to take issue with is that you were fucking attributing things to him he never said, and you're so your outrage is so selective. Like, it's perfectly fine for somebody to do the same shit that Trump does and say the same things as long as it's not, as long as it's not Trump.
Wrong.
Okay.
So the alt-right is kind of a small group, but it's growing. I think I would agree with that characterization. But the problem with the alt-right is they're huge pussies. And as soon as you pin one down, other than Richard Spencer, I mean, say what you will about the guy, he's a piece of shit, and he's legitimately racist, unabashedly racist. He's a white nationalist. But at least he's one of the few who says, yeah, I'm alt-right. He's essentially the guy who coined the phrase, right?
He is the guy, but there's other leaders, whatever, there's other intellectual spokesmen for the movement, and now as we're seeing, there are people who are marching with them and are identifying as alt-right. So it's not like a secret society or whatever.
Who are the leaders of the alt-right other than Richard Spencer?
There's a guy named Jared, I think, is either part of alt-right or he's associated with their general views. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't have their names memorized, but it's a growing movement. It's hopefully not growing very large. And by the way, when I said Trump, they're emboldened by Trump, I don't think Trump himself necessarily agree. I don't think he agrees with the alt-right, but I think he's cozy. Like, I think he really likes to win. That's like his primary concern in life, is growing his own brand and winning. And if he gets support from the alt-right, he's perfectly happy with that. He won't distance himself from them. So they see kind of a safe haven under his umbrella.
Right. Well, that's really
whereas guys like Steve Bannon are much more sympathetic to the alt-right.
Right. So a lot of people have criticized. There's a political website called Breitbart, and it didn't used to be, I think, so extreme. They were kind of, Breitbart was always cozy with Drudge, Matt Drudge from the Drudge Report. Yeah. And for those who don't know, Matt Drudge kind of came into prominence because he's the one who broke the Monica Lewinsky story during the whole Monica Lewinsky and Bill Clinton scandal. Yeah. So that's where that comes from.
Do you know who was working for Drudge at that time when Lewinsky broke?
Who's that?
Andrew Breitbart.
Yeah. Well, that's why. Yeah,
well,
that's why I mentioned Breitbart.
Yeah. Not everyone knows that. I thought it was interesting to point out.
Well, I specifically mentioned Breitbart in regards to Drudge. That's why Drudge came up. Yeah. Right. So Breitbart and Drudge kind of came up as two conservative news websites, conservative voices,
kind of like
alternative conservative, right?
Yeah.
And they kind of came up together in that sense. So Breitbart wasn't always this weird, they have definitely moved much more to the right, the far right, and the alt-right. Some would say. And that's why I think a lot of people had trouble with Steve Bannon being in Trump's administration, which he just had to step down. Or was he let go, or did he step down?
It depends who you ask. He says he quit. I think, the official thing is he resigned. But
I think he resigned because he wants the money.
By the way, my problem with Steve Bannon is not that I don't think he wants to round up all the non-whites and do something terrible. I think he's like you. He's a nationalist.
I'm not a nationalist. I think nationalism is a cancer.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I wish guys like you didn't want the government to, provide us with jobs. I wish you were more of a free market guy.
Okay,
but Steve Bannon complains that there's too many Asians in Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
Somebody like me says, hey, bring in the Armenians, bring in the Asians, best man for the job, or woman. Well, let's be honest. No, it's whoever's best. Whoever's best for the job. Silicon Valley is exactly what I'm talking about. Silicon Valley, full of people from all corners of the planet, working. And Steve Bannon says, "Well, there's a bit too many Asians there. I mean, this is America, right? We're not an Asian country. We should be. I mean, it's okay to bring in some Asians, but let's not forget who we are." So he sees America as basically a white country. Pat Buchanan is the same way. He sees whites becoming a minority, and he sees that as like the American values being diminished. Whereas I say no, the American values themselves have nothing to do with race. If the American values are upheld, then it doesn't really matter what race is the most prevalent.
Right. I'm gonna go on a little rant here.
Let's go.
I was arguing with some neo-Nazis, some fascists on Facebook over the weekend, and this guy commented, and he's like, Maddox, your character assassinating Donald Trump. He's not in support of... It's like, guys, if Donald Trump came out and unequivocally denounced white nationalists, fascists, neo-Nazis, and the KKK, no one would have a problem with him. At least they would say, okay, with regards to that, they would say, okay, well, he denounced that group. But he came out and he made some limp dick, oh, well, it's both sides. Yeah, of course, both sides. There's something, there's... No,
you don't acknowledge both sides.
No, I do.
Right,
and I just did. You literally interrupted me when I was acknowledging both sides.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
I was acknowledging both sides.
Okay.
Of course, the people who complain about Antifa, oh God, they're taking the law into their own hands and they're violent. We get it.
Do we? Your tone of voice and your choice of words implies that you're dismissive of Antifa.
Because Antifa didn't drive their car into a group of innocent
people.
They
set the fucking planet on fire. Are you kidding me? They set Milo's event on fire. They've marched through the streets smashing windows and shit.
Okay, hold on. Hey, we're not going to get into this false equivalency. It's absolutely not true.
You think Antifa is not violent?
I didn't say that.
You think they're not ready to drive cars into people?
I didn't say that. But one party did this weekend, and we're talking about them. We're talking about the fascists who killed somebody. We're not going to have this false equivalency that, Antifa's bad. Look, Antifa is a vigilante group. And by the way, anytime anyone does anything as part of a group, people like to pin the entire group as being that extremist.
Right.
But the difference is with white nationalists and fascists, they are all extremists. Their end goal is to eliminate races from this nation.
Okay, but not all of them are currently driving a car into a crowd. So why is it?
Not all fascists.
Well, why is it that with them you tie the guy in the car to everyone, to all the other people there, but with Antifa you're happy to just see them as a group?
I don't care about Antifa. I don't care about
Why
Antifa.
Not? They're behaving like Nazis. I thought you're such an anti-Nazi. These guys are behaving like Germans in the 20s, going around causing ruckus.
I've never said anything in defense of Antifa.
Well, okay,
the difference is, Rucka, these pig fuckers, these fascists, okay? Yeah. The FBI just prevented one of the largest terrorist attacks since 9/11 this weekend, and no one's talking about it. It was another one of these Oklahoma bomber shitheads. The biggest terrorist attack on U.S. soil before 9/11 was the Oklahoma bomber, Timothy McVeigh. He killed 168 people by bombing a federal building, and he was one of these white nationalist fuckfaces. And that's exactly what happened again this weekend, except thank God the FBI prevented this shithead from doing that. Antifa's not blowing up buildings. Antifa's not driving cars into people, into pedestrians. They're shitheads. I 100% agree.
Violent shitheads.
I 100% agree.
Do they have to blow up a building for you to take them seriously?
No. Well, first of all, there's a false equivalency, and we're not going to play this game of false equivalency.
What game? It's not a game. Up until the guy drove his car into the sidewalk, the Antifa was overwhelmingly more violent than the alt-right.
Okay, I'm not. I mean, again, we would have to go down this path and say tit for tat. Oh, who's more violent?
Tit for tat. It's one. Antifa have been extremely violent for 6 months now.
I mean, you are so much more concerned about Antifa than actual fascists who murdered somebody.
Antifa are actual fascists. We're looking at a group of fascists, the fascist left versus the fascist right. And I'm telling you, fuck the alt-right, but we need to acknowledge that there's more to see here. There's more of them.
Okay.
There's more.
Okay.
You're supposed to be this big anti-Nazi guy, and I'm telling you, these guys are behaving like Nazis.
Here's the primary difference. Again, one has murdered people this weekend.
Right.
The other didn't.
Okay.
One has been caught as a domestic terrorist whose goal was to blow up another federal building. One didn't. Antifa is not what I'm worried about. If I step outside my house, I know. So long as I'm not on their fucking hit list. And which, by the way, I'm not a fan of Antifa. They have all sorts of crazy beliefs and crazy views. They are attacking peaceful protesters. They're attacking Trump supporters. They're throwing bottles into crowds, and they're macing people. And
they're also attacking property and people that have nothing to do with the protest.
Property? You mean like a bomb that's going to destroy a federal building? That kind of property?
No.
Because that's exactly what the fascists were going to do this weekend.
Good. Thank you for acknowledging that. I'm saying Antifa are violent.
There's no false. That's a false equivalency. I don't even want to compare Antifa to the fascists because again, Antifa hasn't blown up any buildings.
Okay.
Antifa didn't drive a car. I mean, anybody could have been in that crowd. children, women, anyone could have been in that crowd.
What am I, pro blowing up a building now?
No, but I don't want to even discuss Antifa when it comes to this stuff because it's a false equivalency.
Okay, well, listen, this is what a debate is for. You give your opinion, I give my opinion, and the people watching and listening at home can decide if you're minimizing Antifa's problem or not. It's not on me to convince you.
Or
it's on them to decide if you're being fair about this or if you're bending over backwards to dismiss the problem that is Antifa, aka the fact they're behaving exactly like brown shirts in Germany.
And they're not. And I'll tell you,
again,
the brown shirts in Germany had a very specific nationalist agenda to eliminate Jews from the populace by murder. Okay, the Antifa might have some shitty views, and here's what it's like. Here's what it's like. It's like if I mention, hey guys, the FBI this weekend caught a domestic terrorist who's about to blow up a building. You would pipe in, or someone defending, they would pipe in. They say, well, what about the gangs? What about the gangs of Los Angeles? I'm like, well, what about them? Like, well, they're violent too. I'm like, yeah, I know. But there's a false equivalency here, isn't there? That just because one group is violent and bad doesn't mean we need to take away focus from a group that's more violent and worse.
Okay.
That's all.
I agree. I agree. The alt-right ultimately is a bigger problem, and unfortunately, the alt-right is probably going to grow and get bigger, as Antifa is never going to get support of like mainstream Americans, whereas the alt-right might. The alt-right, I brought them in as the worst cult because whether or not they're technically a cult, they are the worst.
Well, so why is the alt-right bad? Why do you think that the alt-right is a bad cult?
Where do I begin? Okay, so this is a group of people who say, well, first off, they're identitarian, which I believe is not anti-American, it's anti-reason, it's anti-Western. And now they take America and they take Western civilization and they claim them as their own. They say the West and America particularly are white accomplishments, right? The greatness of Western civilization and the greatness of America, these are white accomplishments, and they're being threatened and destroyed by non-whites. And, lefties or just others might say, well, okay, yeah, take them. Take America, take the West. These things suck anyway, fuck, these are just, the West and America are just, slave peddling shit stains on history. So to go ahead, alt-right, take these things. I wish there was more of a voice saying, no, wait, hold on. Western civilization is a civilization of ideas. It's Aristotle and it's Plato, and it's the way the West has been shaped is through ideas, through philosophy.
Right.
America itself was founded by Enlightenment thinkers. The founding fathers were highly influenced by the Enlightenment, and that's why this country was founded as the country of the individual. And yes, I realize that only really white men were really included in that, but the ideas that they wrote down would lead us to a glorious future, in my opinion. So America was always meant to develop and evolve into the country that would accept every race and every gender, however many there are, on the basis of individual rights.
Right.
Okay. Now, the alt-right, they come along, they say, okay, America was a white country. The reason America succeeded and grew so powerful and strong, economically strong and militarily strong is because the white guys did it. And the Western civilization itself, white people. They don't want to go beyond there. If you try to challenge them, if you try to say, well, hold on, that's not what these things are about, they'll say, Jew logic. They don't want to hear about it.
Right.
They see everything through the prism of race and identity. So you can only have the opinion of an Armenian. You have no Maddox. You have no free will, no conceptual faculty, no rational faculty. You're not an individual in their world. You're only speaking on behalf. Your only interests are not individual interests, but Armenian interests. So that's the way they see it.
Right.
We've had arguments where you basically argued their worldview only from the other side, where you have this Marxist belief that everyone represents their identity. But I don't have any recordings to play right
Absolutely
here.
wrong.
Okay. But the reason the alt-right is growing is because they're playing the same game that other identities have been playing. Now, I don't mean that those identities that intellectual movements have pushed for a long time, saying all women are one group and they have a collective interest and identity. All gays, all Jews, all blacks. Instead of saying that we're all individuals and we need to see the world as such and we need to be driven by that idea, we've had identity politics pushed by the intellectuals for a very long time. And so now the alt-right says, okay, fine, white identity, and they're doing it in a stronger way than actually the others have done it, because they're now wrapping themselves in the American flag, and they're taking actual values such as the U.S. and they're kind of using that to promote identity politics, which is the greatest tragedy of all.
Right. There's a lot to be said there. I just remember the rant I was going to go on related to this with regards to the fascists that I was talking to this weekend. Essentially, he was making the case, like you said, that they're all about Team White. White people have accomplished this, white people have accomplished that. Guys, I've been around most of this world. I've gone to a lot of different countries. And I'll say one thing that really is unique about America, more so than any other country I've been to, and there's like varying degrees of it, but it's the melting pot aspect of America. America is truly a melting pot. This argument that racial purity is some virtue has been proven wrong time and time again. You want racial purity, go to China. You want racial purity, go to Russia. These are not melting pot cultures. These are not melting pot countries. As a diverse nation in America, as a melting pot, we have accomplished more than any other nation on earth. We are the number one economy. We have the number one military. We have the most diversity, and we have the number one culture. We export our culture everywhere else. I sit in the back of a bus in Hong Kong, and there's monitors that come down, and they're playing Britney Spears videos. They're playing Friends. They're playing U.S. sitcoms and U.S. TV shows. Our culture is exported everywhere in the world. And to make this argument that racial purity is superior in some way is a fallacy. So you guys want that, go someplace else.
Let me tell you what the alt-right would say to that. And then I can tell you what I would say back to them. But they would say, well, hold on, man. We're not a melting pot anymore. Or we're not like the Mexicans aren't integrating. They're not learning English. The Chinese are speaking broken English. Like the people who move here, they don't integrate. We're not a melting pot anymore. Therefore, we should bring the melting pot back to just its very limited, white contents. It's white pasta. Do you have an answer, or should I just go ahead?
And what would your answer?
I would say the reason this country is not the melting pot it used to be is because we've abandoned those principles. We've abandoned individuality. We've abandoned the founding principles for the most part. The Asians that helped build the railroads all those centuries ago. Yeah, you can't even see them anymore. Like they're integrated to the point where they've been intermingling with other folks, and anyone who immigrated back in the 19th century is pretty much fully integrated, and now we just call them white people. But we've abandoned that. We've abandoned the founding. This is not an attractive country to immigrants culturally anymore. They come here. They don't want to integrate. They don't want to assimilate because this country has no confidence. It has no. The founding principles have been abandoned. So this country just looks weak and uninviting. So
it sounds like we need to make America great again.
Right? Yeah, and then the worst part about Trump is that he also wraps himself in the American flag while promoting things that are un-American.
Look, man, I think that integration and assimilation is a bit of a red herring. I don't know how important it is. I really don't. I've known lots of people in lots of different areas and places in life. I don't see any evidence that this integration argument is,
it's not an argument. Do you want to or not? In a free society, people who move here would want to assimilate. They say, oh, this is the coolest country ever. I want to learn English. I want to get a cool job. I want to do some great things with my life. And if not. Nobody's forcing you to do it. But in a nanny state, like you've been advocating your entire life, we have a problem. If Mexicans aren't learning English, oh no, what are we going to do? It shouldn't be anyone's problem.
Yeah, it's not. Who cares?
Right, it shouldn't be.
It's not a big deal.
Well, if we had a free society, no one would have to worry about it. But
I'm not worried.
But because we live in a highly unfree society, we got people saying, "Why are my taxes paying for that guy's welfare if he's not even trying to assimilate and do something with his life?"
Assimilate to what? I mean, you could make the argument that whatever culture that you're expecting them to assimilate to is the culture that they're contributing to. So maybe we should assimilate to them, and we all assimilate to one another.
That's the attitude that made this country no longer attractive for assimilation.
No, incorrect.
When this country was the country of Carnegie, when it was the country of of the individual, rags to riches, when it was the land of opportunity, people from all over, they escaped the the despotism of faraway lands. They came here, risked everything for a chance to individually make something of their life. That's what this country used to mean.
Yeah.
But now that we pretty much abandoned that altogether, now that we see everything as a one big collective effort, everyone's just part of a collective. Everyone's quote identity is either their gender, their race, their economic status. It's anything but their own. Then people who move here, they don't even see a culture to assimilate into. Like all they see is all they're told is as soon as they immigrate. And Sarah, if you ever become a U.S. citizen, they're gonna show you a video where the sitting president tells you, hold on to your home culture. Don't forget where you came from. Instead of saying welcome, now I gotta get going.
No, I think that I think that the roots argument is kind of silly. I don't think that roots are that important. I don't think nationalism is important. I don't think where you came from is that important. It just doesn't matter,
right?
Because those are arbitrary. You didn't choose it.
Ooh, I like that.
You didn't choose where you were born. You didn't choose your gender. You didn't choose anything. You didn't choose for yourself is bullshit. Is arbitrary, completely arbitrary. I don't think that you should be beholden to the nationality that you're born in. I don't think you should be beholden to your culture.
Yeah.
I don't think you should be beholden to your president, to your nation, your country. Patriotism is garbage. I think that all of these things are ways that they're artificial constructs that we use to divide us, to say me, not them,
right.
Us, not.
I agree. What this country has been becoming, you're absolutely right. But what this country was originally and what it ought to be again is the land of the individual, where there's a reason to be patriotic. They say this is the best country for me to do what I want with my life. What a glorious thing. Maddox gets to be Maddox. He doesn't need to subjugate himself to the state. That's why Maddox is proud to be an American and to fight for America and to have the American flag waving outside his house.
Yeah, because I made the choice to be born.
So you're right. The alt-right is turning America into us versus them, into this is something I was born into and it defines me. I agree. Right. That's what it's becoming. So I just wish you were kind of singing my tune on this and helping everybody remember what America was supposed to be.
Well, I don't think it's changed that much. I think it's that's an assumption that you've made.
It's not an assumption. It's argument. Clearly evident.
No, I mean there's no evidence. There's no
what do you mean
consensus.
there's no evidence?
In order for there to be evidence for what you're suggesting, you have to show me a clear consensus that, first of all, immigrants America has become less attractive to immigrants as a whole.
No. I didn't say less attractive to move here. Culturally, there's no American.
Okay, what evidence?
There's no spirit. Very little American spirit left to attract people to want to become American.
Okay, that's your opinion. There's no evidence.
I mean,
for
it seems clear because the
to you.
Well, but it's demonstrable. The immigrants of 100 years ago, they couldn't wait to send their kids to learn English and to become the next fucking whatever the banker was, Rockefeller, whatever. Whereas today, like you've got fourth generation immigrants who barely speak English.
All right. Well, guys, maybe look. I don't think that. There's any clear evidence for that.
Okay, other than the one I just presented.
Well,
it's not though.
Can I chime in
here?
Yeah,
please.
Like as a non-American, in South Africa, when you say, "Oh, I'm moving to America," they're like, "Oh my God, America! You can have the best life, like whatever. There's so many opportunities. That's amazing. We're just stuck here in South Africa." But you come here, and it's not like that. And I know, like, my grandparents say that it used to be this like land of milk and honey, and you can just go and escape and have your own house and your own family and job and just live this great life. But you come here now, and I know from personal experience, every day I'm begging to exist. Every day I'm like just slaving away to just afford to eat, and never mind pay for a visa, and then they like send it back, and everyone is in that same position, especially in the last like 6 months or so because of Trump and whatever. Like everything's just at a standstill. All these amazingly talented, highly capable individuals that in some parts I have seen do a better job than an American can do. Of course, there's lots of jobs that Americans are better at, but these highly talented people that just want to be here and just create this amazing culture in America are begging to do so. And I know from older generations in my family, it wasn't like that before. But I mean, I guess there's positives and negatives to everything. There is a lot of things that I'm like grateful to have in America.
Well, in all fairness, there are a lot of parts of America that are much cheaper to live. Like real estate is much cheaper. You can have a much more comfortable life for a lot cheaper. In LA, a place like LA, it's very expensive, which, is kind of, it's like everyone wants to be here and work hard, but but it definitely, the American dream is not what it used to be.
Well, I don't think it's that bad. I don't think things have gotten that bad. I don't think...
No, I like your optimism. I'm not saying it is that bad. I'm saying culturally it's gotten very bad. We've lost a lot of our founding principles.
I would disagree. I don't think so.
I would agree with me. That's,
but at the same time, I agree with what you're saying. At the end of the day, our house isn't being bombed right now. You know, we have running water, we have a roof over our head, we have electricity. Where I come from, there are... probably 70% of the population doesn't have those things.
I hear that. Look, the only place I'll cede a little bit on this debate, I think, culturally, where America has gotten worse, is my cult that I'm bringing in.
Oh, shit.
Whoa.
Which is Steampunk. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Steampunk's the worst. It has made America worse. More so than Antifa and the Alt-Right and the Heaven's Gate cult. The Heaven's Gate cult killed how many people? What, 9, 10? 39 people? That's it? Steampunk has killed countless millions in kids that won't be born because these virgin losers can't get laid.
Interesting.
Steampunk has killed our drive to procreate.
Like Terminator style.
I was recently at Comic-Con in San Diego, and you don't know how many booths there were for like a new Steampunk web series, a new Steampunk comic book. Steampunk everything was at Comic-Con this year, actually, that I saw.
Yeah.
It's not punk, and it's barely steam. I don't know, like, what the fuck is steampunk? Every time, and these fucking bozos, they're everywhere. All they do is they take shit that we have every day and they replace little bits of it with wood. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's steampunk. Why?
What is steampunk?
Okay, this is the actual definition from Google when you Google steampunk. It says, a genre of science fiction that has historical settings and typically features steam-powered machinery rather than advanced technology.
I just Googled it, and looking at the images, it looks like everyone's trying to recreate Will Smith and
yes, Wild Wild
West. Yeah,
that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Everybody in the 1800s who had. Yeah,
I picture you throw on goggles and you can say you're steampunk.
Yeah,
everyone always has goggles.
Everyone's got fucking goggles. Which, by the way, when you're designing shit, is the laziest. It's the laziest design element. Oh, let's just throw some goggles in there. Let's make a statement with goggles.
Steampunk.
Dumb. Steampunk. Yeah, here we go. Steampunk. Because you know what? Glass clearly exists because you have it on your fucking goggles. Why don't you just build a fucking windshield? That's what they're for. They shield you from wind. You don't need goggles. We have glass. We have windows. It's the same fucking thing that's in your fucking little glasses. In fact, it's easier to make a pane of glass than it is to cut it into a circle. You don't need goggles. No one needs goggles.
How are you gonna weld some shit and with a fucking windshield blocking your face?
Don't worry, Rucka, because in Steampunk universe, there's no welding. No, they just have fucking nails and wood.
No, the steam engine was like the next step of technology, right? It was factory style shit.
The steam engine. Here's how a steam engine works. It's just a furnace. You throw wood or coal in there that burns, and then the heat will boil some water, and that water will push steam through some pipes that will move like a turbine or something.
Yeah.
There, I just invented the whole fucking steam engine right there for
God.
you.
A fantastic invention.
Garbage.
You want to live before the advent of the steam engine or after?
After. I like where we're at now.
Oh, so you do like this is a Maddox style argument. Oh, so you do think steam engines are good? So you are steampunk. It's like such a Maddox thing to say.
It's not. Look, I like steam engines are just fine. They're just fine. There's a use for them.
Yeah.
There's a purpose.
Mostly in the past. Not so much anymore.
Yeah, because we have electricity. It's fucking cool.
Yeah.
It's way better. Mm-hmm. Electricity is way better than everything. I like electricity. I like nuclear power. Yeah. Fusion and fission.
Oh shit!
Both types of nuclear power much better than steam engines.
Right. Well, I don't think the steampunks are saying that the steam engine was superior technologically.
Yes,
obviously, it came first. It's a fashion statement.
Apparently, it looked cooler.
Yeah,
it looked cool.
That's what they say. It's a style of design and fashion that combines historical elements with anachronistic technological features inspired by science fiction. Garbage. First of all, it's impractical. Mm-hmm. Okay, no one's walking around with fucking steam engine backpacks on their backs and goggles. Yeah, except assholes at Comic-Con. and then it's not fun. All right, it's a shitty aesthetic. It looks like shit. It's garbage. That Mikey Bolt showed me a top hat with goggles on it and a bunch of goofy shit sticking off the sides, like
a couple feathers.
Why?
Feathers.
Yeah.
There were feathers on it.
Like they go they're so steampunk that what they do is they go pheasant hunting and then they put feathers in their top hats as a little token of their prize, their catch.
To show they've been places.
Yeah, the show they've been. It's what it is, Mikey. It's just bragging.
Wow.
Steampunk braggarts.
It's like a magnet from where I traveled to.
Yeah.
You got feathers.
Like I got goggles and and a story. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You know what? The alt-right wants to take America back to a worse era, a worse place, make America worse. Steampunk wants to take us back even further. All right. So you go back to the steampunk era, and guess what? Fucking slavery. That's what it is.
Heaven's Gate wants to take us to the back end of a comet that doesn't exist. There's no spaceships, or you're just gonna be floating for the rest of your life.
You know what? At least that's the future, and you don't have to worry about them anymore. Because like the worst thing that can happen with Heaven's Gate cult is they just kill themselves and they're not around anymore.
Or is the evidence, could they possibly still be around?
Castrating one another.
Yeah. Won't we be the biggest bozos if we all die and we immediately get zapped to that fucking spaceship and they're like, huh, guess who was right? I guess it was those 39 dipshits. They get the one cult that got it right. Time to cut my dick off, I guess.
Guys, I guess.
What a worthless, sexless cult.
That's lame.
So that's the one thing that Heaven's Gate cult and Steampunk has in common. No one is having sex.
Yeah.
I feel like Steampunk people who really get into it, it's like the worst of Ren Fair plus the worst of Joker cosplay. Now, if you guys don't know, I've ranted about this many times on the show. I hate Joker cosplayers. They are the worst people. They can't fucking break character ever.
This is hilarious.
They just come up to you all the time and they're fucking assholes. Rucka, the last time we had, was it Chris Reagan?
Ricky from the ETC show. We went to a YouTube event after. So, okay, you're not a very good storyteller.
All right, you tell the story then.
He came on the show.
Yeah.
You talked. It was Halloween that weekend or whatever. We talked about how Joker cosplays are not good.
Right.
They never break character. That night, you, me, Ricky, and some others went to an actual Halloween party where this Joker walks over and just speaks with that from fucking Dark Knight. You know, he's like doing that.
What are you guys doing? What are you drinking there? Is that beer?
And like just nobody basically acknowledges him, and then he just starts speaking regular. All right, guys, I'll catch you later. Like, walks away.
Yeah, we're not gonna play your fucking game. You're not actually Joker.
Yeah.
And same thing with these steampunk dipshits. They're steampunk zealots. They won't break character. They talk in their old timey shit, and they're always carrying around little potions, like little vials of shit.
Aren't they?
Yeah. And
wow, I didn't realize how bad this was.
Oh, it's awful.
I thought it was like a fashion thing and like furniture, and I don't want to hang out with them because they tend to be like hipsters and I can't really deal with that.
Yeah.
But I figured they were more or less just normal people, and maybe even some of them have a little extra money to spend on furniture, so they get kind of cool shit design. I didn't realize these guys actually speak like it's the Renaissance.
There were so many at Comic-Con that were promoting all this stuff that they were doing, and it was all in the accents.
Yeah.
And it was all, they did have little vials. That's so funny. And they have them almost like a pocket watch.
Right.
They'll have a little vial with a pocket watch chain.
Yeah.
As if it's like a really quick to-do drip.
Yeah, and they never call it a fucking watch. It's like, oh, let me put up my timepiece. Ooh.
Yeah, like that, yeah.
Yeah. It's a fucking watch, shithead. The word watch is older than the fucking watch. People had that shit back then. And during Steampunk, you just called a watch. Stop calling it a timepiece.
And it's all the same color. There's no colors.
It's all brown. Brown and gold or brass. They love brass.
I like brass.
Oh, yeah.
Brass now
they're all about brass, man. That's the metal of choice for Steampunk. It's a shitty metal, too. Brass.
Why do you suppose they're into that shit?
For a number of reasons. First of all, they're losers. Second, they're blowhards.
Okay, but why that? Why Steampunk?
They're virgins. Steampunk in particular, it's kind of like people who just want to harken back to, I guess, the 1950s. They're like rockabillys, except when rockabilly people, like the most annoying they get is you'll occasionally run into one at a weird throwback diner, and they're really into that specific genre of music, and they're just doing it to get laid. Yeah. They're like the opposite of Steampunk. Rockabilly people like are all about swagger.
Yeah.
And they're into banging rockabilly chicks, and rockabilly chicks are into banging rockabilly guys. That's what they're all about. Great. Cool. You're banging, and you're not bothering me that much. And rockabilly people look the part, but they're not talking in a weird voice, and it's not that much of a stretch. They're wearing platform shoes and stupid suspenders. Who cares?
Right.
Steampunk people are like that, except in reverse. They're doing it. They can't get laid, and they're trying to. Right. So that's the Ren Fair circle of the Venn diagram. All right. So you got that portion of it. Then the hipster diagram. The hipster one, where they all have that stupid twirly mustache.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Cringe, bro.
God.
Yeah. Like they're old timey, like fucking, they work at a saloon.
Yeah.
And then the third part again is the Joker cosplayer where they can't break character.
Okay, but why why the 1830s fucking Industrial Revolution, whenever the fuck it was? Like, what is it about those old school factory gear shits that attracts them so much? Do you
Fuck if I know, man.
You just don't know.
I don't know.
No idea.
I don't know why it exists. I wish it didn't. Did it all come from the Will Smith movie, Mikey? The Wild Wild West?
I think a lot of things came from that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Not good things.
No, nothing good came from that movie.
That's pretty funny because it totally is that movie.
Yeah.
The whole culture.
Yeah.
I haven't even seen the movie. Yeah,
It got
Wild Wild
terrible
West.
ratings, but it was a popular movie.
It did well because it came out the same weekend as South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, so anyone under the age of 7 or 18, that they had to pretend they were going to see Wild Wild West.
They bought tickets to. I literally did that. I bought tickets to Wild Wild West and snuck into South Park.
Yeah.
Oh,
so that's
interesting.
actually why it grossed $100 million.
Oh my
or
God.
South Park is responsible for fucking
South
Steampunk.
Park got fucked over. They have billions of dollars they should have in the bank right now.
Yeah.
Because people were buying tickets to see their movie.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's a huge fucking scandal.
Hey, Will Smith, most richest actor alive. I think you owe some reparations to Trey Parker.
Yeah, Matt Stone Trey, his entire career is owed to South Park. So, Sarah, I want to ask you, is this a thing in South Africa? Is South Africa a haven that we can escape and go and escape?
I heard it's great.
It's great. You can escape. No, they don't have these.
They don't have steampunk?
No.
I think there are parts of Africa where they're still hoping for the steam engine to be invented, but
Yeah.
that's not. South Africa is more advanced than that, right?
Yeah. Big time. Just like a lot of hippies, but that's about it.
There's a lot of hippies in South Africa.
But
Really?
they leave you alone.
Yeah, they better.
Hippies leave you alone?
Yeah.
Yeah, not here. Not my fucking crazy neighbor. She'll come out and tell you to turn your engine off to really butter you up.
She had
That's what
very
she's
bad
done.
teeth.
Yeah, she's
Oh.
awful.
We came in
That's
the
my
Jeep,
criteria
too.
with people. I like
I
people
want to
with
go
great teeth.
park outside after this.
We have a Jeep
so
too,
I can
so
meet her.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Don't.
No, it's bad news.
Don't start your car.
Well, anyway, guys, that's it for my cult. It's Steampunk. Vote on the website, madcastmedia.com. Again, it's Heaven's Gate Cult, AltRight, and Steampunk. Those are your choices. Don't forget to vote on the website, madcastmedia.com. We'll find out. We'll talk about the results of this vote next week. All right, but before we move on, we should talk about the Rucka wrap-up. Rucka, do you have anything for us?
Okay, cults are bad news. You know, if you or someone you love is flirting with a cult who thinks it might be fun, I get it. I get it. All you teenagers listening and watching, you want to belong. You think this is going to get you laid, but it's not. Or it might if you're the cult leader. Dude, those guys, woo!
Oh, they're banging.
They're banging.
Those guys, I've watched documentaries.
But think about it. You can bang 100 women who are doing it because they think it's required of them by this magical universe you've painted for them, or you can find just one girl, one person, maybe in the steampunk community who, is, actually there because she wants to receive you. There's your choice. Thank you.
Gross.
It's a Rucka wrap-up.
There it is. That is super gross. Look, even if steampunk people do get laid, they can't use condoms. They have to use the either sheepskin or the pull-out method.
What is it? It's the rectum. Also, don't they use the rectum too?
I bet they have some whimsical
Some
name
weird
for it.
stuff. There's weird options.
It's the rectalator. Oh, let me put this on. Oh.
The women apply Lysol after the act because
gross.
they're very into that old school technology. That's what they used to do back in the day.
They probably have wooden condoms fastened with brass.
Wooden condoms.
Oh, God.
Sandpaper.
Sanded down on the inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good times.
Oh, can't break character. Oh, let me pull out one of these files. It's just fucking food coloring, dipshit.
Yeah.
We know what you got in there. You don't have actual potions. No one does. Magic isn't real. Shut up. I played the first time I got exposed to steampunk was some video game. I remember what it was like. The Wild Arms, I think, had like some steampunk shit in it. It had like a floating ship. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. This is a thing in this game, in this one game, and I never have to see it again. Wrong. I had to see it everywhere, forever. And they haunt you. Steampunk people.
So
They follow
funny,
you around.
floating ships is totally steampunk.
Yeah.
I can't stop laughing at all these things. So I'm like, I remember seeing all of this stuff. Floating ships, top hats, curly mustaches.
That's all it is.
Little pixie dust vials.
Yeah.
Fucking hipsters flying around in their airships.
Well, the steampunks are like trying to escape reality. You're posted at your computer for 45 years. Like, why doesn't everyone just fucking get a little more well-rounded and leave the house?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And join furries.
No. That's a fucking...
no
you
one
should have brought that in. Yeah. All right, guys, we should talk about some quick news headlines from around the web. This is from metro.co.uk. A man survived shooting himself in the heart with a nail gun. Did you guys hear about this?
No.
Oh my God.
All right. So when I first read this story, it sounds like, oh, this guy sounds real badass, but he's probably not. He's probably an idiot. But then I read the story, and he is badass. Listen to this guy. Doctor said Doug Bergeson came close to death after he accidentally shot himself in the heart with a nail gun at home in the U.S. state of Wisconsin. The 52-year-old was working on framing in a fireplace when the gun accidentally fired, sending a 3-inch nail ricocheting off some wood and into his chest. Now listen to this part. He said, I could see the nail moving with my heartbeat.
Oh my God.
It was kind of twitching with every heartbeat. He said, I was frustrated because I knew I wasn't going to get home until late and I couldn't get anything done. So this guy had this nail twitching in his chest with his heartbeat, and he was upset because, well, this is going to take time out of my day.
That's crazy.
What a fucking badass. He says, explaining that common sense told him not to pull the nail out. Yeah, that's common sense. You get shot in the chest with a nail gun. Common sense says don't pull it out. Common sense. It says here, Mr. Bergeson jumped in his pickup truck and drove for 10 minutes to Bay Area Medical Center in nearby Marinette. In the meantime, about 2 inches of the metal was inside his chest, and it was just 1/16 of an inch away from a major artery. He started to feel more pain when he arrived to the ER, and he told a security guard, if you could find someone, that would be great. I'm just going to sit down.
Oh my God.
This guy shoots himself in the chest, and he's just like, I got to take time out of my day. Go down to the hospital. And he walks in casually. He's like, hey, is there a nurse or something? I'm just going to be sitting over here. Please hurry it up. I got some work to do. I got to get back to framing. Holy shit, what a badass.
Yeah.
Hero of the week, am I right? I am. There's here's another story. It's from telegraph.co.uk. It says a pet owner saved his drowning tortoise's life after giving it mouth-to-mouth CPR for an hour. Gross. It's a gross story. Why would you do that? Why would you give CPR to a tortoise?
Because
I would give CPR to a tortoise.
Yeah.
For an hour?
I mean, for whatever long it takes.
Oh, gosh.
But my thing is, it's got a little shell.
Yeah.
How do you...
You got to flip it over.
Yeah, but on the
bottom is still hard.
I mean, the shell snaps on the sides, right? It opens.
No, it's not
like
a ninja.
Yeah.
It's not a Ninja Turtle.
Is that hold on? What? Hold on! Don't fucking blaspheme. What do you mean it's not a Ninja Turtle?
The toys, some of the toys, you could take out the shell and put on different shells. Yeah.
Oh well, you didn't specify toys. I thought for a minute you were saying that Ninja Turtles simply their shells snap open.
Come on,
I was thinking I would want to see one of those guys without the shell. It might be interesting to check it out.
Yeah, real creepy. They just look real frail inside.
Yeah, it's just like really skinny inside.
Yeah. Says a pet owner saved his drowning tortoise's life. A fucking tortoise is drowning. Let nature run its course.
Yeah,
that's nature telling you something. This one's not supposed to make it.
So what if your baby's drowning?
Well, babies aren't meant to live in water. Tortoises are. This is a failure.
No, they're not. Tortoises. That's a turtle.
Yeah.
What? Tortoises don't live in water?
Desert land tortoises. They can't
different kinds.
be in water. They can't swim.
Really? Well, I just learned something. So
there you go. Oh my God! See, all this time we've all tried to convince Maddox to change his mind on anything. It took the soft voice of a tortoise loving,
of an animal loving animal rights.
Yeah. Well, it says here after he saved the tortoise's life after giving it the kiss of life for an hour. John Fletcher found the 45-year-old Frida's the name of the tortoise, at the bottom of his garden pond, limp and looking dead.
Oh, God.
Leave it. He said Mr. Fletcher started performing CPR and gave the animal mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Middle-aged big lady tortoise Frida lives with her owner at his home and has free reign in the backyard. Okay, there's a mistake. It's a fucking tortoise. They're dumb. Then he said, I mean, it's just like a baby. Treat it like a baby. You don't put a baby in the backyard with a pond and then just leave it unsupervised. True. The dumbass is going to fall in there. So he did. And he says, but he was bewildered when Frida vanished on Saturday afternoon and eventually reached into the pond where he found his pet. Mr. Fletcher said it must have been there for at least an hour. I took it out and it was looking quite dead and limp. I decided to put my own mouth around its head and give it a few short blows, having stretched its head out a little bit. And then he said a small half teaspoonful of water came out of his mouth, which I had opened. So he pulled over this little tortoise's mouth, stretched his neck out a little bit, and started pounding its chest and giving it mouth to mouth, and a little bit of water came out.
Cute.
I want to see what the guy looks like.
Yeah.
And I want to see him holding the tortoise.
Yeah, he's some old dude, and the tortoise just looks like a fucking tortoise. Can't believe it. So what'd you do this afternoon? I sucked a tortoise's mouth for an hour. What have you?
I pulled the head out.
So Sarah, you would totally do this to save the tortoise's life.
I gave my goldfish mouth to mouth once.
Oh my gosh! What?
Goldfish.
Yeah.
How did that drown?
They don't even breathe oxygen.
No, it jumped out of its fish tank.
So you thought more air?
But it helped. Did
it really?
She
Did you
lived on
spit
for
into
another
his
6
mouth?
years. Her name was Goldie.
Goldie the goldfish.
6 years?
Another 6 years.
I thought they don't even live like 6 weeks.
Yeah, goldfish are hard to keep
Oh no,
alive.
in my house they live for
Wait,
long.
so you spit into the goldfish's mouth, or
No, you just
you
wanna-
breathed into it? But
that.
they don't breathe. They drink water in there. That's how they breathe.
Did you actually put your lips on it? This
Yeah.
goldfish? Is it a big goldfish or a tiny little guy?
It's a little small one.
And he jumped out?
Yeah.
That's nature. He's like, hey, I'm done. I'm Heaven's
Yeah.
Gate. I've killed myself. I'm out of here.
Yeah, I
Add
think
a couple doses of everything into this.
I actually think he was trying to maybe commit suicide, but I wasn't ready for Goldie to go. So you just have to throw in a little bit of mouth to mouth.
You know, who are we to tell these animals they can't kill themselves? The tortoise was trying. The goldfish was trying.
Yeah.
You want...
Dr. Kevorkian over here, another Armenian.
That's true. All right, guys.
What a proud
proud people.
Proud people.
Uh-huh.
Your
Accomplished.
your notable figures go around killing their patients.
You know what? Hey, it's mercy. All right.
Good
yeah,
point.
that's what it is.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Patient is suicide with dignity. Death
right.
with death with dignity act. That's what that is.
I'm with you. Just wanted to slightly jab at your people.
Yeah. Well, it's a source of pride. You ever heard of Jack Kevorkian? Famous Armenian, helped people die. Anyway, guys, Nick and Sarah, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having
Thank you. I enjoyed watching
fun.
a lot.
Yeah, sorry it got a little bit intense. It happens on here
was
sometimes,
good.
but you guys were fantastic.
Yeah, we blew it. But I want to say thanks again for coming on the show. Thank you to my first unit key grip deputy cadet moderator, Rucka Ali.
You got it.
Thanks to the sergeant of swag, Mikey Bolts.
Thank you.
But most of all, you're welcome.
Hey, Maddox, I don't know what is going on between you and Rucka, but I feel like it's most likely because you guys are both beautiful men, sexual tension, and that you guys, for the good of the show, just, fuck already. You guys just fuck already.
Is that for the
Like,
good
it
of the
just
show?
needs to happen. You guys need to get it out of the way, and then you can go back to making a stellar show. And also probably record it. So, why not? It would be the best sex of all time, right? You have Rucka, and then you have fucking Maddox having sex like a samurai, super angry.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that looks like. And I think the internet should know, because sometimes I think about things I can't find on the internet, and some guy having sex like a samurai is one of them, compared to some other really weird fucked up things, but that's for another time. Punch a Nazi.
Yeah, punch a Nazi to you too. So that guy. Look, a lot of our listeners, what you guys witnessed today, a lot of our listeners have been witnessing. They think that it's just sexual tension between us.
Do a lot of them think that?
Well, clearly this guy does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when I worked at a real radio station, no offense to your little podcast show, we were told that when a caller gives an opinion, they're speaking on behalf of a larger demographic.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what happens.
Wow.
Yeah, so that guy thinks that we should just do it and get it over with. Not going to happen.
Like a samurai.
You know what, though? Like a samurai. And I will say this. You guys will know how a samurai has sex at some point in the future. That's a little foreshadowing. A little bit of foreshadowing, yeah. But here's another voicemail, one last one from Weird Matthew McConaughey. Last week, this guy called in, longtime listener and caller of the show. He calls in, he's like, hey, Maddox, If you want to wear your crown better, why don't you just grow out your hair? Yeah, real good advice. Thank you, Weird Matthew.
Good point.
Yeah, here's a follow-up call to that.
I meant the crown, the royalty crown. If you grow hair out on the side, creates more cushion between the crown and your dopey skull.
Okay, it's not a dopey skull. It's a really good skull.
What?
It's not a dopey skull.
It's not dopey.
Dumb.
Hey there. Don't forget to subscribe to Madcast shows on iTunes, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast app. Okay, bye. Madcast Media Network.